Robert Fox, generally an overview of what you've seen today.
I think this story of league tables is nonsense. We will not have the scale of an India and of a China and possibly a Russia or even in Indonesia and maybe even Turkey. But in terms of quality, we are absolutely vital in the alliance, and this has been underlined. We've still got a global aspirations, and I think General Sir Richard will talk more about that, and we are there with the French. It points to me to a very interesting future. If we're going to sort this, we've got to pick and mix with our allies, and we know how constant they are. It's not only France, in Europe in particular, America, but also Australia and Canada and countries like that.
General Sir Richard Dannatt, your thoughts on today's announcements?
Well, variety of thoughts. I think in some ways there's been more sort of hysteria and emotion has clouded the whole picture, because there is a train of logic that runs through this. And one of the key points that I think has been missed in the sort of excitement of this afternoon is the government's decision to do this every 5 years. I think that's really important.
Good news, yeah.
Well, it is important because we haven't had one of these reviews since '98, and my goodness, we've got ourselves in a real muddle in the meantime. So to do it regularly means we can keep scanning the horizon and making sure that where our scarce resources are put are really relevant to the moment.
Do you think it was the right time to actually hold this defence review, or do you think it should have been held once we're out of Afghanistan altogether?
No, there was no alternative. The 38 billion black hole that the coalition government inherited from Labour, and those of us who were the chiefs over the last few years knew it was building up. And there was a political override not to take big decisions and have a fuss in defence. So we walked into things like the carriers and Typhoon Tranche 3. The Army's medium vehicle, the FRES programme, was effectively cancelled to put the money into the carrier programme. So we absolutely had to do this to bail out this 38 billion deficit, which actually has brought it up to zero. And now we've got to find 7 or 8%. It's effectively 16, 17, 18% that defence is having to find. It's a big ask.
Are there any decisions today that you would question?
Well, I think the one that needs explaining, and it's counterintuitive for me as a soldier to be talking about it, is the aircraft one, the aircraft carrier one, because I think that's absolutely spot on. The military judgment today is that there are no immediate threats to our security, or that would require a carrier-borne air power over our deployed land forces. So to take the Ark Royal out and to retire the aged Harriers makes sense. To get the benefit of the money that we're spending on the new carriers and bring in the new jets in about 9 or 10 years' time, when we are in the medium term, when it's much more uncertain, that's reasonable. It can be lampooned, it can be laughed at, it can be thought to be wacky. Actually, that's a little bit silly. It's not an unreasonable decision, because the principle that's guided this is graduated readiness. You put the money on the things that are facing you most and the things that are most likely.
And there we must leave it. General Sir Richard Dannatt, Robert Fox, thank you very much for your time to both of you this evening.